Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters here on Facebook, those that subscribed on YouTube, and those that follow my show reels on TikTok. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody is doing great and hanging in there. As for me, I'm doing great. You know, I haven't worn this shirt here in a very long time. It's been a long time I've worn this shirt here. Last time I wore this shirt was a long time ago. Last time I wore this shirt that says GOAT on it was when I was recuperating from COVID. While I was sick with COVID, there was like a lot of people, a lot of trolls. They were saying certain things in which it triggered an argument or a beef against a certain individual, which was Brother Josh Turner, in which, I've seen how they can create something from nothing. It happened to me. I was sick. I believe he might have been sick. I'm not sure, but I was sick. My son was sick with COVID, and it triggered a beef between me and him, because of things that were being said to me, or somebody was saying something to him, and you think it was me saying something, and I thought he was saying something. So, I haven't worn the shirt ever since then. It's been a long time. I wore this shirt right here, in which it triggered Sergeant Cias, and Sergeant Cias did say a lot of things, and it's kind of like when you don't know who your friends are and your enemies are, it's kind of like you stand alone. So me, I'm a small group, and yeah, there's a lot of people that came up against me in a negative way, in which I thought, I was fighting for what I believe was right, and vice versa. They were fighting for what they believe was right. So that's how it happened. It was a constant battle going back and forth, in which people really didn't bother to get to know me, to look at my works. How you doing, Sister Elizabeth Ann, Herschel Phillips? How's everybody doing this evening? So it's like really nobody knew who Abe Cias was. I mean, people do know who Abe Cias was already from other groups I'm affiliated with. But that time, it was like I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why people were coming after me, but it happened that way. In which we talked about it, and we finally just squashed the beef. Now that I see that and reflect upon that, what happened then when I was sick, I know that there was people that created that, which was this troll-like people that tried to twist things around. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. I'm wearing the shirt because I'm proud of being a tanker, and in homage to PRT, to Brother Josh Turner. I'm wearing it out of respect. I'm wearing it because, no matter what comes my way, spiritually or physically, I'm always ready. I'm always ready to handle the situation. So I'm wearing it. It's been a long time I wore this shirt. It's just been hanging in my closet. Like I said, I wore it. Last time I wore it is when I was sick, and I was going through recuperating from the COVID thing. I lost like a lot of weight from it, and had that beef with Brother Josh Turner, and I call him Brother Josh Turner because that's been squashed a long time ago. But I could see how that could happen. I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing it now how that works. How somebody can say something about somebody, and it can change a person's view of who you are. I used to encounter that kind of stuff in the military all the time, where there was a lieutenant that came, and he told me he didn't like me, and he was a brand new lieutenant, brand new lieutenant in the military. He's telling Sergeant Cias he didn't like him, and then Sergeant Cias looking like, what the hell's the matter with this guy? What beef does he have with me? I don't even know who this guy is. So he kept on telling Sergeant Cias this all the time. He don't like you. He don't like me. And I was like, I asked him one day. It's like straight up. I said, why don't you like me? I mean, you keep on saying you don't like me, but you didn't tell me why. So I want to know why you're telling me you like me. They said, well, the Sergeant Major says you're this and this and that. I said, so the Sergeant Major is the one that's telling you not to like me because you're believing what the Sergeant Major is saying. So this is a message I want you to relate to the Sergeant Major. You know, Sergeant Major was higher ranked than the Sergeant CS. So tell Sergeant Major if he's got a problem with Sergeant CS to come tell him in his face. And we can settle it the old ways without rank and the wool line, right? So this lieutenant's looking at me like, man, this guy's crazy or whatever. But I was serious, you know. It's like that's how you handle things in the military. It doesn't matter what rank you carry. Take off the rank and we settle it man to man, you know. And I guess he told the Sergeant Major, and the Sergeant Major knew I wasn't afraid of him. So then this lieutenant, he began to know me as an individual, and he's like, you know what, you're not a bad person at all. You know, you're a pretty cool guy, you know. So this is just a quick short story to let you know sometimes that people say something about you don't mean it's true. You know, you gotta hear it from the person's the talk to the person and get to know the individual before you make a judgment on them, you know, in which a lot of people do that. After seeing all this chaos going back and forth, people arguing and pointing fingers about affiliations, all this, is like, you know what, I don't need this kind of stuff in my life. I stand firmly of what I said to this guy that was talking negative about me. You know, the mutual combat agreement is there. If this individual wants to take that offer, you know, as a man, you know, he said that he took two things out of context of certain stories that I said, and he basically tried to make it seem that I tried to target his family, which that was a lie. So I'm giving the opportunity right now. I'm going to give him the opportunity to answer this. You know, if you think that I try to target your family, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do something about it. Sign the mutual combat agreement so we can solve it. I know you did something against me, and I got that against you. That you initiated and you started, not just with me, Sister Bettina Moss, and Brother Josh Turner, you initiated it. I just want to finish it. You know, whatever they do, that's on them, but I'm talking about me. You know, you started something with me, try to label me as a bad person, and I'm going to give you the chance to, we're going to find out who's who. You take things out of context. You know, you started this. You said that, made fun of me. It was you with the fake profiles. I'm going to give you an opportunity to defend the honor. If you're an honorable man and you love your family, you know, I see you were asking for donations. You know, that's a pitiful, man. Asking for donations, but you're fighting for a custody battle on this crap. You talk about boots on ground, but you can't even lace up your boots to go to work. You know, that's ridiculous. You know, what kind of a man are you? You know, if you can't lace up your boots to go to work, or you and your wife can go to work, have two jobs, and make money instead of begging for money online. That's what I see. You know, I see you as fraudulent people. When you came at me in a negative way, labeled me to be a certain way, well, I want to defend my honor. That's why that open challenge is there for you, Dirty Mike. We're gonna find out who's the honorable person. Is it me that started something with you, or is it just me messing with you because you initiated something with me first? And if you say you're man and it's about your family, do you handle things a certain way? Well, let's settle it. Let's handle it, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to settle what you started. You know, that's why I'm wearing the shirt here today, because you just didn't start stuff with me. You started with other people that they're thinking about backing out because you're sending your cult members to go after them. Well, I'm not backing down at all. I'm not going to back down. You know, that's why I'm wearing the shirt. I already explained why I'm wearing this shirt. You know, whoever wants to watch the replay. But that's why I'm wearing this shirt, because I know how people like you are. I've met people like you in the military. You know, there's people like you in the military that will say something bad about somebody just so you can get promoted before they do. You know, that's the kind of person you are. You know what I used to do to those kind of people when I was in the military, and I would find out that they were talking smack about me? I'll have a wall-to-wall conference with them in which there's no talking. I'll just settle it that way with them, straight up, man to man. So I did have a reputation of people that came up against me in a negative way, in which once that was done, they never see me the same ever again. Every time they would look at me, they look the other way because they they receive what they wanted. You know, when you wish for something, you're gonna get what you're wishing for. You know, and that's how I was then, and that was then a long time ago. But I still work out the same way I used to work out daily. You see whoever's on my friends list, look at my photos. I work out every day the same way I worked when I was a youngster in the military. So it's within me for a fight. It's always within me. It doesn't matter what ailments I might have or nothing like that. You know, once that adrenaline rush starts kicking in, it becomes first to nature. It's like old times, you know. It's within me. But that's what I'm putting out to this guy that started a lot of stuff, you know. But besides this loser, you know, I want to talk about my story, why my story in Dogman Encounters episode 53 is so short. I was like, when I did that video, you know, I didn't know that the person that's the host of the show, Vic Condiv, was going to take out so much information of what we spoke prior to he coming at the show. I spoke a lot of stuff to him, and he edited all out of the show. He only spoke of certain parts that, like, he took out of context basically, and didn't speak the true nature of my encounter of what happened to me in Elms Grove. The one that speaks more of the true nature, and it's because it was time limited would be the show This Was So Haunted, season 3, episode 2, Something's Out There. A little bit of what happened there is more in detail of what Dogman episode 53 says at all. Another thing that's out of context from even This Was Haunted is it wasn't two beings that I encountered out there. It was 6 beings. The things that they took out of context was I went in the woods without a flashlight. I didn't take no flashlight in there. So what I'm going to do with y'all right now, whoever's you're viewing, you know, that's what happens when somebody takes things out of context. You see it all the time. Like, for example, I seen a video, or I placed it earlier, where this guy is claiming that there's a video that people have been placing about a Bigfoot. You can see a face walking through the woods. Well, I placed it here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, where that guy said that's him in the costume. That somebody stole his footage because they create little scenarios like that somebody took his his scenario or his movie or whatever and took it out of context, that he tried to contact the people saying that's him in the costume, and that all these people from the cryptic community, they're blocking them. They don't because they want to keep it to be real. But he's saying it's the same guy that they created their dog band that's on the ground that looks like he's bleeding. He created that also. So that's what he does. He does artwork, right? So they create little scenarios in that way. So that got stolen. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff happening in the cryptic community, where people are stealing videos from people and claiming to be their own, but it's not their own because it's not even real. You know, this guy basically saying that it's him in the costume, that it's not a real creature, but it's been spread all throughout the cryptic community, and we've seen that a lot, you know. But getting back to track of what I'm talking about is when I talk to Vic Condiv, I talk to him about a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that I spoke of. You know, I've seen where on his shows where he wants to keep it 100% real in the flesh, which he'll give somebody that believes that they're 100%, he'll give them the time. He'll give them 2 hours, 3 hours to speak. But mine was only cut to like about 45 minutes, 55 minutes, you know, because he didn't put everything that I was speaking of, because what I was speaking of, it wasn't a flesh blood creature. It was more of a demonic of nature, being that I was dealing with that was able to manifest into a dogman, which would be demonic or a possible skinwalker. So that's what I'm going to talk to y'all here about tonight, debunking episode 53 of Dogman Encounters, what Vic Conniff did not say on the show that he took out, he edited it out, a lot of stuff that I spoke about. So I'm going to talk to y'all about what I spoke to him about when we created the show that he didn't place in the episode. Okay, and here we go. I'm going to tell you how I got sent there. I was doing Lightworker live feeds, and I had placed some pictures out there in which it revealed to be something, this canine creature or something in that nature, on this group called Lightworkers of the World. Lightworkers of the World, and I believe somebody's wife referred me. I think it was Big Al, Armando Salazar, Big Al. Somebody referred me from somebody's wife. Seen that, they referred me to him, and he contacted me through Messenger, and they told me I will probably want to talk to Vic Conniff, right? So I called Vic, about what was going on over here, and we talked a lot, because I said a lot of things to him. When I spoke to him, things were still happening. Things were still happening there in the mobile home park in Elms Grove. A lot of activity. I'm going to give you some of the activity that was happening. For example, the activity that was happening was these shadow beings that were coming from the wood line into the park. There would be like 16 strong coming through the park, going into mobile homes, into the walls. That would literally go materialize in and through the walls. That activity said they were surrounding the vehicles. Like if you were parked, they'll come to your vehicle. There'll be like four, just going in circles around your vehicle. There was a lot of activity even where people had to call the cops, where they were saying that somebody was peeking through their window of their restroom, but the window of the restroom was real high, probably like 20 foot or higher, because the mobile homes sit on metal frames that are up on pillars, from the ground up. So it's pretty tall. So cops were being called because they're saying they had peeping toms looking through on top, on top of looking to the restrooms. I remember when the cops showed up, that there was like a lot of squad cars with their high beam lights, and they were chasing something in the park. And they had the high beam on it, but the only thing you could see was a shadow within the high beam. It wasn't a person. It wasn't a Bigfoot. It wasn't a dogman, just like a shadow moving real fast. And they had all the squad cars had the high beams pointing at it, but it was moving so fast they couldn't keep up with it. So I remember at the entrance, right near the Domino's, if you look at Elms Grove Estates in Killeen, Texas, you'll find that there's a Domino's right beside it. If you look it up through Google Maps, there was a Domino's, right? There was a squad car there. They had the roadblock, and this shadow being, or shapeshifter, skinwalker, whatever you want to call it, passed right in front of the policeman. Passed right in front of him. As he passed right in front of him, they look at each other, and they're like, "Are we going to tell the chief about this?" And it's like, one of them's like, "I barely just got here. I barely got hired." And they're like, "Well, we're just going to keep it to ourselves. We're not even going to write a report of what we just witnessed, because that's going to cost us their jobs." So they seen what was in the park was nothing of the flesh. It was something out of the ordinary. We came supernatural, you could say supernatural. They had some how should I say, supernatural capabilities. Like I said, shapeshifter, skinwalker, demon, disembodied demonic Nephilim, whatever you want to call them. That's one of the stories. But basically what I talked to Vic about was how it all happened. How my son, my friend had come with her daughter. My son and her daughter were playing on the slides and the swings, and I was showing her the creek where I lived, that it looked beautiful, that I liked it because Mother Nature was there, and that we could hear him playing in the playground, but all of a sudden we stopped hearing him play. So when you stop hearing Sheeran playing, that means that they're up to something or something's happening, right? So we stepped out of the creek, and the creek is not that far from the park. It's probably like maybe 6, 7 foot away. So it wasn't like we were far away from them. So when we went back to look for them, we couldn't find them on the swing set. We couldn't find them in the park. And that park in Elms Grove has two sides. It has a left side and there has a right side where there's also swings and slides on the far right side of the park. There's two parks within that park, right? So we searched everywhere. We couldn't find them. Sun was already setting. It was like 6:15. We went home to search for them. My sister said there wasn't there. We searched the room. We couldn't find them. So I told them, call the cops, tell them that, we have missing children. So out of being desperate as a single father, that's my only son. My son at the time was like 3, 4 years old. I think he was 3 and the girl was 4. I went back to the park as the sun was setting. I was yelling for his name, yelling, and it was getting dark, yelling and yelling out of desperation, that I wanted to find him, because in the woods there's animals also that come out, right? You got wildcats and whatever else is out there. So as I'm yelling and yelling, I managed to see the top of my son. My son was a tall boy, so I was able to see the top of his hair over some bushes. So I ran that ways real fast, and when I got to them, they were standing by a tree. There's the parts that Vic Kondo didn't left out of my episode of Dogman 53. I'm going to tell you everything that he left out. So as I went to them, they're standing near a tree, but they're standing side by side in a trance-like state. I'm asking them, what are you doing here? You didn't hear me calling y'all? But none of them they're not responding. They have no response. They're like in a trance-like state, like something else is controlling them, right? So finally, after about 10 minutes, they finally responded to me. And they were like still in a trance-like state. And the only thing they said was, the man in black called us in here. The man in black was calling them. That's what they said. So I yelled for my sister and for my friend. They came and I thought, take the children out of here with y'all. And they took them home, So I went looking for this man in black. I was either looking for an African American or somebody dressed all in black. So I searched everywhere. I searched the woods, searched underneath the bridge, the creek, the highway, and I couldn't find no man in black. So after that, the following day, when I went back home, my friend had already taken off because she was kind of frightened. The following day, I told my friend, hey, bring your camcorder. This is, mind you, in 2004, 2005. That's the time frame. I said, bring your camcorder. We're going to go back into them woods because if there is a person there, I don't want nobody to be missing the children or for somebody to kidnap the children, whether it's a killer, a rapist, a pedophile. I didn't feel comfortable for anybody to go play in the park, in the swing sets or the slides, knowing that there's somebody's there in the wood line, trying to bring the children to them. So we went in there with a camcorder. As we were walking the path, I told her, record. I'm going to go in front of you and I'm going to be looking and sensing. I was using my military tactics. And she was recording, with her camcorder. So as I'm walking forward and I'm looking and trying to sense, she's recording and she says, oh my God. And she took off running. She left running out of the woods. And as she was running, she said, I think I captured something. But whatever she's seen made her run out of the wood line, right? So I'm still looking and I can't see nothing, So I went back. By the time I went back home, she already got in the car. It scared her so much that she got in the car and she took off to her house. She left. So I got my son, went to her house to review the footage of what she captured. So as I'm viewing the footage of the camcorder, I see when she says, "I think I caught something." And when I look in the camera, you could literally see what seemed to be a man in black, right? And he's got a golden amulet around his neck, and he's looking at us, and his eyes are like yellowish. And he's just looking at us when she says, "Oh my God, I think I just captured something." It goes straight into the ground. Like the apparition of the man goes straight into the ground, like it's part of Mother Nature itself. So that's what she captured on the camcorder. So things started happening at her house. Things started happening at her house where the activity that was happening to me started happening to her at her house, and she lived in Nolanville, out in the country. So things started happening at her house that I had to go over there, cleanse her home and all that. So she was so afraid of the footage that she got rid of the footage that she had captured. She got rid of it. I wish she would have not got rid of it, but she said she had to get rid of it because she couldn't take or handle the things that were happening around her house. So she got rid of it out of that footage that she captured in Elms Grove. So that's one thing that he left out. Another thing he left out that I spoke of to him was of the Philippine woman that lived there in Elms Grove, that she had been there for 35 years already. When I first moved in there, I was cutting through that path. I was new there in the area, but it was a shortcut to go to the store. It would take me through the woods, up a little hill, to the highway, across a bridge, and to the left there was a driveway, and the Family Dollar was there. At one point in time, it was a Family Dollar, then it changed to a Dollar Tree. So I would go there that way. And the Philippine lady, she said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I'm a respectful guy. I respect my elders. She said, "Don't be going through those woods. Don't go through there." And I said, "What do you mean don't go through there, ma'am?" She said, "There's something very evil there." It's like, "What do you mean there's something evil there?" She said, "Look, there's something evil there. Just don't go through there." And I said, "Well, if there's something evil, what is there?" And she shared a story with me. She was a Philippine lady. She'd go out there, and there was some cactus. She would pick the cactus because she liked cooking cactus. She said that she was picking the cactus, from the cactus, whatever that was there. And when she was picking the cactus, that a big giant snake wrapped around her. And he spoke to her, and he had red eyes. And she told me the story how he was speaking to her. She never said what he said to her, though. He had red eyes, and ever since then, it's kind of like she said she wouldn't really go into the woods to pick no more cactus. She just told me that it was evil. Said not to go there. And then it went to the point where she told me that not to go in there because the lycanthrope lives within there. And it's like lycanthrope. At the time, it's like, what is a lycanthrope? I guess it means werewolf. So then I questioned that. I was coming out of the military. I was like, I don't know. The story of my son, maybe it was just their figment of their imagination. This lady that's telling me she's an old lady, maybe she don't know what she's talking about. So I left it at that. Another thing was the neighbor. There was a guy that when I would go walking right near their embark, he lived in the outskirts of the mobile home park. And he would always tell me, "Do not go out there. There's something out there." So you see the targets? He had targets set up near the wood line. Targets set up, and he had a bow and arrow. He had weapons, He said, they come and stand right there every night. They come and they try to come inside my mobile home. So they stand there, and I try to hit them with my bow and arrow. I said, "What do you mean stands there?" I was like coyotes, foxes. I said, "No." He said, "Werewolves. They come. They're here. They stand right there by that, by my target. That's where they stand, by the edge of the wood line. So I'm like, man, maybe this guy, he's smoking something or something, So, you try not to think too much about it. And some of the things I was thinking to myself, maybe they're trying to scare me out of the park, So I would continue to do my walks and stuff like that. Then I also told him a bit kind of about the time I was going to go cut through the woods again, and that there was a man standing outside the gate, and I knew that the Philippine lady had a son. So this guy, when I went up to him, because he was calling me to him, and he was standing outside the gate, and it was weird because he had like a little glare in his eyes, and it was kind of yellowish. Their eyes looked yellowish. So I'm thinking maybe he's sick with something or something of that nature that is making his eyes glow yellowish. So he said, hey, I'm the son of the lady here. That's my mother. And I was like, hey, I told him, why is she telling me not to go into those woods? And he told me the same thing. He told me, do you know what a lycanthrope is? I say, I heard of something like that through movies and stuff like that. He said, that's what's in there. And then he's like, I'm a historian. I'm a historian for the natives that live in Arizona and New Mexico. Said, the lycanthrope live in there. That's what he told me. So, he still had that yellow glare in his eyes, and I'm looking, and the sun is not even hitting us at all. It's because the sun's already setting, but he's got like a yellow glare in his eyes, and I'm trying to figure out how does he have a yellow glare in his eyes, So I left it alone. I didn't cut that day. I didn't cut through the woods because of what he told me, so I went around. I went the long ways around, which means that I had to walk out of the park to where the domino is and walk straight down the highway to go to the store. So I left it at that. When he told me this, well, she sold her mobile home, and they had already moved the mobile home, and the only thing that was left was a shed. So I seen him inside the yard by the shed getting tools. So like, hey man, I went up to him, and I was like, hey, remember me? And he's like looking at me. He said, no, I don't remember you. He said, remember when you told me not to go into the woods because there's a lycanthrope there, and you're a historian and all this? He said, man, I don't even know who you are. I've never spoken to you before. That's what he told me. So I believe whatever was there looking at me, they had the yellow glare, could have possibly been the shapeshifter skinwalker that took his form. When people talk about double hangers and stuff like that took his form. That's one of the stories I shared with Mr. Vikanov, that he didn't place it there because he wants to keep the scenario that these creatures were 100% flesh. That's one of the stories. Now let's go back to the guy that lived in the mobile home. He took me inside his house. He took me inside his home. When I entered his home, this is what I witnessed inside his house, y'all. How doing, Brother Carlito? We got Sister Nellie Turner. We got Michael Shane, Brother Shane, Brother Michael Moran, Sister Elizabeth. He invited me to his house. He had a shed where he was always welding, and what he was welding was spears and arrows that he was using to shoot when they would come near to that target where he had it marked, so he could shoot at them. So he was always making arrows and spears for his bow and arrow. He's always welding. So when he invited me inside his house, this was what I witnessed inside his home. Every window had a cross, holy water, garlic in every room, weapons in every room by the windows, the doorways. There was guns, there was knives, all kinds of weapons inside, just everywhere in his household. He said he was living in fear because they would always try to come and break into his house. And I witnessed all these weapons he had laying everywhere. So that was telling me right there and then that what he was saying to me outside of what he was witnessing was the truth. Another thing we would tell me is underground down the street. You know, whoever lives in Texas, you know that we have a big sewer system. He will tell me, I hear them. I hear them every night. You can hear them underneath the street. That's where they're at. They're underneath the street. You can hear them growling underneath the street. Basically, what he was saying is they were in the sewer systems. They're in Central Texas. That's where they reside, because he will always hear them going underneath the street. I didn't try to go look underneath the street. I know which street he's talking about, you know, so if anybody ever wants to go investigate and go check it out for themselves, if they're brave enough, I'll show you what location he was talking about, because he showed me. Well, that guy, he finally moved out of there. He got the hell out of there. Don't want to do nothing with the mobile home or that location anymore. There were several other people within that park that will tell me certain things that they will witness, but they will say, well, maybe it's my eyes playing games. Another thing that he didn't mention to say was, when I was battling spiritually against these dark shadow beings that were coming out of the wool line, there would be like 16 strong, pretty tall, like 6'5", 6'6", and they're gliding through the park towards the mobile homes at nighttime. So what I would do is, I had holy water, I had garlic, smashed up garlic with olive oil and salt, pure stuff, and I'll start blessing my home, because I didn't want what was coming out of the wool line into my home. You know, I spoke about what I would do to Vic about how I would bless my home and stuff like that, to prepare spiritually for what was coming, because what was coming had the ability to go through the walls, teleport through the walls. And we know that something that's physical does not have those capabilities. Something that is in the flesh does not have those capabilities. It's got to be something of demonic of nature, or something like a shapeshifter, skinwalker, that have those kind of abilities through the witchcraft and necromancy that was shown to them by the demonic entities, right? I spoke to him about that. I spoke to him about how when I went into the woods, he talked about that. He did allow. I'll give him credit for this. He did allow to speak about when I said in there that it were demonic beings, because of the time frame that it was 3 a.m. So that's something that he did allow, is for me to say that they were demonic of nature, because of the time frame when I went into the wool line to help that woman, which was 3 a.m. You know, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, it was one evening. I was asleep. My sister woke me up. It was cold. I had a cold. I couldn't breathe, right, because of the cold. So my sister told me that there was a lady screaming for help outside. That it sounded very like she was in the need of help. I went outside and I heard the cry for help. Went back inside the home, put on some warm-ups, and grabbed my bat. So I said, okay, if somebody's doing something to her, I'm going to try to sneak up on them. I did not take no flashlight or anything like that. I just went with the bat in my hand. Followed the cry for help, you know, where she's yelling for help. I went by the park, and there's a wool line right in front of me by the swing set where I'm standing, 3-something in the morning, and the cry for help is coming from inside the wool line. I'm like, how come the cry help could not be anywhere else, by the slides, by the swing sets, by the picnic table, somewhere in the park where it's visible, but the cry from help is coming from inside the woods. Right there by itself, you know, my instinct is telling me something ain't right with this. But, you know, I'm a man, you know, I lost a family member a long time ago, and I heard the cry for help, and I said, as a man, I'm going to go in there and help this woman. You know, so I went in there because of the cry of help. You know, I followed the path, went in there, and I had the bat in my hand, and the cry for help was getting closer and closer. As it got closer, I was fixing to swing the bat because that's how loud it sounded, like real. It was like right beside me. As I was fixing to swing the bat, the cry for help stopped. So I'm sitting there with a bat, fixing to swing my bat as I'm taking a full swing, and the cry for help stops. So I'm looking in the darkness and I'm seeing if there's any kind of movement, any kind of shadow movement, or another cry for help to see if the woman is there, but nothing. Silence, dead silence. So I'm still looking there, and the leaves are falling off the trees, because of the time frame. It's cold, so I could see through the creek. I could see the store that was over there. It was a Mickey's gas station. I could see the store, and I could see there was a club that was there, but the club was closed, and there was an empty parking lot. So I knew that there was nothing coming from over there. So as I'm looking that way, I feel something behind me. As I feel something behind me, what I mean by that is my spiritual instincts kicked in. My hair stood up from the back of my head. The hair from my arm stood up. So that's telling me there's danger. There's something around me, something behind me. I believe in when I spoke about that, and this was I was going to say behind me because that's what I felt. Something behind me. So when I turned around slowly, that's when I seen him. I was literally flanked. Flank means surrounded. The right side of the path, there was 3, and the left side of the path, there was 3. And the reason I knew there was 3 is because I could see their eye shine looking at me, a white eye shine looking at me. So the one that's close to me, that was approximately like around 5 to 6 feet away from me, and it was real tall looking at me. So that one had the easy access. I don't know if they mimicked the voice of a woman to lure somebody in there, but that's what it felt like to me. It felt like an ambush, because there were 6 of them. They were right behind me, but luckily my senses, when I turned around, I seen them. So I'm looking at them. They're looking at me. It's kind of like you could say like a Mexican standoff, but worse because I was the only Mexican and there was 6 of them. So they're looking at me and I'm looking at them. So my military instincts tell me, you got the creek behind you, like 10 feet away. You could run into the creek, but the one that's real close to me and real tall will probably come after me real fast and catch up to me. I could run to the left towards a highway, but the ones that were flanking me to the left are going to chase me down. If there were real creatures, right? And the ones to the right, there's 3. So it's kind of like I had really no place to go. So to me, it's like trying to get home safely. What would be the quickest way for me to get home? The quickest way for me to go home was the same way I walked in. So that means that I would have to take my mind somewhere else and walk the same way I walked in which I did. I started praying the deliverance prayer, the Heavenly Father, our Father who art in heaven. I prayed that prayer so many times, and those things kept on moving their heads, looking at me. They were looking at me, and it's like I started ignoring them like that wasn't there, not giving them the power. I started ignoring them. It's kind of like when somebody is messing with you, just ignore them, right? Because you don't want to hear what they have to say to you, so you ignore them. So I ignored what was around me. I had the bat in my hand. And I knew the bat was too small to do anything to him. So I just dropped the bat. I dropped the bat because if there were real animals and they see me with a bat or a weapon, which would be a weapon, then they would see me as something dangerous, right? So they would come after me. I dropped the bat automatically. So I went into prayer. And I stayed there praying for a while before I even the only time I made my first move after praying for a while, calling upon Jesus Christ, was when I felt the presence of the Heavenly Father and His angels around me. That's when I took the first step, and that was when I took my initial first step to go back down the path. As I was going in between them, I could see them through my parallel vision, where they were turning their heads, looking at me as I was saying the Our Father. And then all of a sudden, they started not speaking through the mouth, telepathically saying, what they were saying was this: They said, when I was saying the Our Father, they said, the Holy One, the Holy One. All of them, 6 of them were saying, the Holy One, the Holy One, the Holy One. And I just kept on praying all around the bend. I could feel like there was one behind me. And I never turned back, you know. I studied Greek mythology and stuff like that. Like when the guy went down to Hades to save his ex or his girlfriend, they told him not to turn back, not to look back. And when he looked back, she went back into Hades. Well, in the essence of a way, I never turned back. I just kept on walking out of there without turning back. I couldn't breathe right because of the cold I had. So by the time I got home, my sister was waiting for me, and she's like, "Are you okay?" But she knew I wasn't okay because I looked whiter than Casper. I was white. So that's what happened, in that part. And other stories that was less, other things that happened after that, because that was just what happened there. But the other things that wasn't mentioned, that they got cut off because of the spiritual aspect of it that I was bringing, was the time me and my nephew were sitting outside or the mobile home, where we're sitting in the picnic in front of on the picnic table, and our neighbors, which his name was Miss Evelyn, there's something picking over a white SUV looking at us. And my nephew said, "You see that, Unc?" So we ran around our mobile home because we thought somebody was trying to break into our SUV. So when we looked, we seen something running through out of yard pretty fast. So we'll go back to our yard, and the mobile home park, the width of the block is not that big. So under the light, we see something doing a low crawl, crawling real low, and I was like, "Is that a dog?" And I was like, "Man, that's too big to be a dog." And then he did like a medium crawl. He said, and I'm looking at it. It said, "Is that a deer?" And we're looking at it. Said, "That's no deer." Then it stood up. When it stood up, we definitely knew it was no dog or no deer because it was standing on 2s. So it's standing underneath the light pole, and the color of fur that it had, or it was reddish brownish. It wasn't that big. It was looking at us, and it took off running. So as it started running down the street, we ran down our side of the street. It was in the opposite street, and we went parallel with it. So then I seen it running between some mobile homes. It took a left and went into the darkness. But underneath the tree was a big one. It was all black, one black, grayish, one big one. And that one was huge. I would say it had to be, man, I would say over 7 foot, 7.5, 8 foot tall. It was massive, probably weighed, it was muscular, like nothing but muscle. I'm talking about the legs was nothing but muscle. The upper body was nothing but muscle. The chest was nothing but muscle. It had, the face wasn't like a big snout. It was like a medium snout. So I'm looking at this thing, and my nephew starts running, and it starts running, but it's not running like we are running. It's running with a long stride, like a bouncing stride, It's like a bounce, stride, and he's using nothing but his legs. And the way it ran, he kept his hands here in the front, like this. It kind of reminded me of a kangaroo of sort, the way the kangaroos hop, but it wasn't a hop like a kangaroo. It was like a long stride, hop, long stride, hop, long stride, and he kept his hands up here in the front. And he was looking at us like this sideways. He was looking at us sideways, looking at us as we were running down the street. So as we were running down the street, I'm a disabled with my conditions. I'm like, man, in my mind, I'm like, what the hell am I doing running after this thing that's going down the street, And that's the first thing in my mind. They clicked, and why am I running something that I don't know what it is? And I told my nephew, "Hey, stop. So maybe it's trying to lead us to an ambush, That's what I felt. Stop. I told him stop, and we stopped running. But it was so far in front of us that it ran into the wall line, and we could hear it break the trees that were within the creek, where it ran into the creek, and you could hear it land in the water. a park where we live is like in a depression. It's like a whole depression, and everything echoes in there. So we could hear all that very loud and clear when it did that. That's one of the stories I told Vic Kundov that he did not mention on Dogman's episode 53. He had asked me, what do you think it was? And I said, well, it looked like it was flesh. Then I said, but, and I think there's a reason he didn't left it in the story. And then I told him about another incident where me and my nephew were on a picnic table at the park by the swimming pool. And then we could hear something crawling, like something clawing on the tree, up on the tree. And I'm telling him, I think it's just a tree lizard. So I'm hearing like clawing sounds on top of the oak tree. And we're out there in the dark, sitting down because in the park there's some lights. So we're hearing these claw marks on the oak tree, or acorn tree. It was an acorn tree. So as we're sitting there, oak tree. We're sitting there and I'm hearing this claw marks up on a tree, and I said, oh, it's just a tree lizard. Next thing you know, what happens is you hear like a crack and a big thump, boom, where this giant branch broke and it fell to the ground behind us. As it fell down to the ground behind us, something landed beside me, like maybe I would say 8 to 9 foot away from me. It landed on its toes and it's looking at me and looking at it, and it kind of looked like the reddish brownish fur one, but this one looked different. It kind of looked like the face didn't even match what I've seen. It looked kind of like the face of a like a wildcat or something in the nature, like cat-like features. But it was standing on toes. As it was standing on toes, it looked at me, I looked at it, and it ran into the creek. I literally seen it with my naked eyes, break the branches, go into the creek, and then it came back into the park, broke the branches, came back into the park, and it ran to the other side of the park where I had my encounter. So when he asked me, what do you think that was? I said, well, Brother Vic, no, I seen it how it looked, but I don't think it was something real. I mean, yeah, it had enough weight to break the branches and all this, but what happened afterwards is what makes me wonder if it was something real or something pretending to be real. And he asked me, what do you mean? I said, well, one thing about all the encounters is it was something that's of the flesh. It's a creature of the flesh. When I was surrounded by 6, when I was saying the deliverance prayer, the Our Father, they're not going to acknowledge the Our Father telepathically and say the Holy One. First of all, for the ones of the 6 in the woods, the ones that were breaking the branches, it started making me believe that what I was witnessing was something real. Once I started thinking, or a slight belief that it was something real, that's when the other things started happening. And he's like, what do you mean the other things started happening? I said, well, I couldn't see them no more, how they were manifesting themselves to look like. They started attacking me spiritually, unseen. It's like, what do you mean unseen? I said, well, just imagine walking in the park, daylight or nighttime, and you hear something running behind you or something coming from in front of you. You hear footsteps. Next thing you get hit in the back, hit in the front. You fly 4 or 5 feet in the air. You land on the ground, get up with your guards up, and there's nothing around you. I got shot off 2, 3 cliffs. That wasn't mentioned, how I jumped off the cliffs. That wasn't mentioned at all. And like I said, a lot of stuff got cut. And I believe the reason he cut it is because he wanted to stick to the theory that the Dogman is 100% flesh. I experienced them. I fought them spiritually. And I'm here to let you know that they are not 100% flesh. They are of demonic nature. Because other things that happened. There's another story that he didn't even mention about when I heard the dog bark outside. It was barking outside, and I seen a woman looking at me, and I'm looking at the woman is looking at me. I'm looking at her, and I'm saying to myself, "There's no way. There's no way," because the form it took was that of my mother, and my mother had been deceased since 1985. I shared that story with him, how it manifested to look like her, and I started saying the Our Father, and I started rebuking. Next thing you know, he just fades away. I told him about the different times that I fought it spiritually, where it manifested to look like a dogman or a werewolf-like creature, or it manifested as a Bigfoot. It manifested as a shadow being, and that every time I rebuked it through Jesus Christ's name, that it would disappear, vanish, and you could smell either sulfur or you could smell pestilence, like something dead. That's what I knew. That's what I told him, that I believe that there are demonic in nature. So when the thing came out, it's like everything that I said to him is like he only plays a certain part of what I said to make it seem that it was 100% flesh creature. But it's kind of like that. It did allow just that one part of the spiritual aspect of it, but it didn't say everything else that I'm speaking to you right now of why I say it's spiritual in nature. Another thing that he sent people my way to come and investigate. The night guy, God's rest his soul, Brother Armando, he came to investigate at nighttime. I didn't even know he was there. He said that he was going to send some people to come investigate, that he's going to tell them where I live, tell them my address, my location. He's going to send them to investigate. So he sent his night crew guy, ex-military. He witnessed something. This is how it happened. It was, I guess, nighttime. It was a Sunday morning. I got a knock on my door. I got asked a question by this big, tall Mexican guy, Hispanic guy. He asked me a question. He asked me, how can you be in two places at once? And I said, first of all, who are you? And he said, I'm Vic Connor's night guy. So they told me to camp out over here where this homeless person was living under the bridge that he witnessed. Which that's in there on Dogman Encounters. The homeless guy that was living under the bridge and witnessed them standing in the creek. So he was camping there in that location to see if you would see him. What happened to him? He said he was in his car seeing, or should I say, doing a recon and just looking. He said that he seen me standing in the creek, by the creek, dressed all in black, calling him, that I was calling him to come to him, that I was calling by his name. And to me, it's like, I never met the guy for me to even know his name. I didn't know who he was going to send or anything like that. And he said, look, I came to your house. Before I did the recon, I came to your house. I seen you inside your house. I went over there, set up. Next thing you know, I'm seeing you in the creek, and you're calling me to go to you by my name, and there's no way you know my name because I never met you before. So I get in my car, I drive all the way back to where you live. When I get there, I still see you, that you're inside your home. So, and he's like, this is what he told me. The exact word is like, they're not going to like what I'm going to say because they just want to stick to the narrative of it being flesh and blood. But what happened to me, I'm going to let them know. And they're not going to like what I have to let them know, what I witnessed. And after that, I think that's when he went separate ways from Vic and them, because he didn't say, Mr. Vic Conlon didn't say what happened to his night guy there in Elms Grove. That he experienced something, when you want to call him a doppelganger, you want to call it a shapeshifter, skinwalker, you want to call it something demonic that has the capabilities to manifest and look like somebody else. But whatever was there took my form to look like me. And he was scared, what he witnessed. So after that, it's as far as I know, there was a fallout or something. So he went in separate ways. but he witnessed it. So that was my by him witnessing that. That's verifying of what he witnessed and what I'm saying to be 100% true of the spiritual aspect of it being either a skinwalker, shapeshifter, disembodied demonic Nephilim, legion, or something of demonic nature, whatever you want to call it. He was the guy to verify that my story was 100% legit true. But it was never spoken of at all within Dogman Encounters episode 53. You figure that one out. How you doing, cousin Christina? How you doing? So there's a lot of things that were taken out of, I ain't gonna say taken out of context, that wasn't even placed there. That footage should have been, of everything that I spoke of, it should have been like a 2 hour long, 2 hour and a half long, because I said a lot of things, you know. When you're living through it fresh and it's happening to you and you're still in the location, you're still living in, you could say, living with your guards up or in fear because they keep on coming at you, you're going to fight spiritually. It's fresh. So I said a lot of things to this guy that he never mentioned at all. That's why I'm mentioning here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. That a lot of the stories, and you've heard me say them, a lot of the things you just heard me say right now, whoever follows Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, you've heard me say them. All the things that were happening there to me, and I have many more that were happening to me, happened there in Elms Grove, and I spoke to him about all this. But, you know, when certain individual told me, why do you think he didn't place everything of your story in there? You know, I'm one of those type of people that I trust people, you know, if you share something with them, that they're going to say everything how it is. But then now that after all these years have passed by, it's like, did he really let me explain myself, or really truly let me express myself 100%? You know, because he says he's there for you as an individual, that he wants people to hear your story. Well, if he wants people to hear your story and wants to be there honestly as a person that's helping you, why did you take away everything else of what I told you and you never placed it in there? Why? If you're really a person that truly wanted to help me and I'm speaking to you truthfully of what's happening to me or what I went through, how come you did not place everything in there? That's my question to you. Was it because it goes against what you're trying to lead the people onto? Man, that's what I feel. And that's why I'm speaking about it here right now. You know, it's kind of bothered me some, because, you know, when I opened up to him, I really wouldn't say nothing to nobody. I keep everything to myself, because when you're going through something, sometimes you just have to keep it to yourself, because people are gonna see you a certain way. You know, they're gonna say that you got issues, or you know, there's something wrong with you. You know, it's prior military. PTSD is a quick thing somebody can throw at you. But I was being honest and truthful. So basically what I'm asking is, how can you take my honesty and truth and not share my whole story for what really happened, but you only took a certain part out of it to fit a certain scenario of it to be more of a blood creature than what I was speaking of? That's something that has been bothering me all this time, is why you didn't say everything that I talked to you about. I see some of the stories that you talk to other people, and some of the stories that I've heard from some other people, to me, there are not real stories, because you can see the lies within the stories. You know, when you give them that time of 3 hours or however long. Some of you even brought them back as other guests. You know, I don't want that. I just wanted my truth to be told truthfully. And you said you were there for me, but you truthfully didn't. I mean, yeah, you gave me a little platform to say a certain part of a story that you didn't say the whole story. You only took a little portion that benefited you, but you didn't say the whole story, how I felt that were demonic in nature. You know, and yeah, it says demonic in nature there, but you didn't say the whole story of all the events that happened to me. It was just one thing. It was continuing things that were happening to me there in Elms Grove. Yeah, and I do have people to vouch for what I'm speaking of. I'm still friends with the mother that was there when my son and her daughter were taken into the woods. She's on my friends list that she can vouch for that. The Philippine lady, I don't know where she moved to, but definitely my friend, when my son was 3, she can vouch for what happened to me, what happened that day, and what happened to her when she recorded the thing. She can vouch for that. And I've had other people also. Now I even talk about the people that went in there to investigate themselves, how they got spiritually attacked, and then we had to carry them out of the woods. I believe I even mentioned that. But there's a lot of things that wasn't said, so I'm here saying it here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. To me, I'm using this source, to vent, to say my story, my experiences. And I feel that I have to vent and speak the truth of this, not partial truth, but the full truth. That's why I'm saying this here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters right now. I'm saying my truth of what happened there. Not hearing it from somebody else, but for me. People call it the horse's mouth. You're hearing it from me, from Abe Cias, right here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. I had the pictures of the spiritual, people want to call them abominations, phenomena, spiritual activity. I have many pictures from Elms Grove that you can see what's within the pictures. But like I said, there was an agenda. The agenda was to make it seem they were 100% flesh. So you got people that are working for certain individuals coming at me, trying to take the spiritual aspect out of my stories out of the picture. How? By making fun of my pictures or this, that, when you could clearly see there's something there of what I speak of, So it's kind of like they're trying to ruin my reputation. It got so bad that my account got permanently deleted, in which it deleted my group. But what they didn't know is that I had a backup account. So I put all my stuff back on Positive Spiritualist, but then I created Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Now that I'm speaking about all this, and I've made podcasts and speaking about a lot of things, I still got these people coming after me. The way they're coming at me, they put complaints on my pictures, or they said I said something wrong. So Facebook comes and they'll put me on timeout. Right now I'm on a 24-hour suspension because somebody from some group said something. So I'm going to have to go look into what people are within the groups, and if it's somebody that's affiliated with the individual I'm having problems with, I'm going to, delete them out of the group. If I'm an admin of those groups, I'm going to delete them out of there. Kick them out of the groups. But that's what I'm going through. I'm just going to tell you like this: whoever's here viewing, and I think I have one viewer. I don't know who it is that's here with me right now. Whoever here is with me, let me see who is there. Sister Nellie. It says that you're watching. Sister Nellie, I do want to apologize to you for the past. I felt that all that was instigated by other people that maybe it might have been affiliated with you. But I'm talking about trolls. Trolls that instigated what happened a long time ago. So I'm wearing this shirt not because I'm wearing out of respect for y'all. I got to meet y'all, and y'all good peoples. One thing about me is I've been through so much in my life, but I don't try to focus too much on the negativity. I try to stay with my love foundation, and I keep on moving forward. No matter who comes my way, whether it's trolls, whether it's people, I still continue to do my works. I was always told never give up. I was always told don't be nobody's carpet, because they're on top of you, they're going to step all over you. And I'm just being me, and if people like the different sides of me, and what I mean by that is, because where I've been, combat, I've been in combat. So you got Sarncias, you got Spiritual Abe Sarncias. They both believe in Jesus Christ. The younger version of Abe Cias, when I was growing up, believed in Jesus Christ. So my belief in faith in Jesus Christ has always been with me. Of what I see is there's people within the cryptid, paranormal, or whatever any other communities are that do not worship or believe in the Heavenly Father or Jesus Christ. So when they hear somebody like me talking spiritually, or somebody like Brother Josh Turner sometimes says something spiritually to his viewers, they take that offensively because that's going against their belief. So they target us, That's been the story of my life. I've fought witches, warlocks, demons all my life, since I was a kid all the way up to now. So this is nothing new to me. These people that they're coming up against me in a negative way, I don't fear them because God is with me. So they're the ones that should be in fear of what might come back to them spiritually, because that's how God works, They can always repent for their sins and ask for forgiveness, but it's got to be done in true faith and true belief in Jesus Christ. That's the only way that they're going to be saved. But if they continue to do the evil works that they do, sooner or later, God's going to intervene, and then by then it's going to be too late. So that's why I don't worry about my enemies or whoever comes at me in a negative way. It doesn't matter how many people are affiliated with them. It doesn't matter if they belong to a cult. It doesn't belong to witches, warlocks, voodoo priestess. I've ran into voodoo priestess before. They came and challenged me there in Elms Grove. And I overcame them spiritually. Because, a spiritual battle is nothing that you're going to do something physically. A spiritual battle is spirit against spirit. And it's what they believe against what you believe. So it becomes a spiritual battle. So I say to y'all, whoever's here viewing, maintain your love foundation. Maintain your love foundation always. And when you went up in a situation that somebody's coming in a negative way, deflect it. Deflect the negativity. Don't let it come to you, and let it go back to the sender. When you allow it to come to you and it affects your heart, it may change your demeanor. It makes you angry and pissed off and stuff like that. That's the opening that they're using. This unseen forces, the enemy that's coming at you in a spiritual way, that's what they want. And if you fall for that, what they're doing, then they've already won spiritually against you, because you're falling in for that trap. Me, sometimes I like to play the part of Sarncias, where I can say something like, sign the mutual agreement right now, let's handle business. But I know within myself that I have to maintain my love foundation. The only way Sarncias will come out in that way, and I've done this before, overcome the enemy with a love foundation. And physically or spiritually, I've done it. I've done it before in the past. So it's nothing new, but I know what tactic they're using. But I'm still going to continue to do my videos. I was iffy today of making this video, but I'm glad that I made it now, because I let all this out of what I felt when I did Dogman Encounters episode 53, and I feel good now. I feel that if viewers, you listen to this video, they'll understand what I'm trying to say, because I'm speaking, it happened to me, and I'm just sharing what happened to me, my experiences. The problem was that the person that was supposed to be representing me didn't represent me to the fullest. He only represented me partially to what he wanted to represent for himself. But I'm sharing you, I'm talking to you, I've just told you right now how everything was going down there in Elms Grove. And I wasn't the only one that lived in that household either. My sisters stayed with me, my nephews and nieces, my son, so they experienced things also. So I know how it is, brothers and sisters, when you get spiritually targeted and the forces that are coming against you, they come at you in a way that they want to affect the whole family. They want to target the whole family. They just don't want you. They want to affect everybody within the family through fear, through the fear factor. That's what they do. I was just making this quick story, sharing this with y'all. Another thing, man, I've been in situations where, bullets already flying, when I was in combat. And I prayed to God, and I prayed to Him in true faith and true belief, and He was there for me. Or if anybody that's viewing right now, we're going to say a little prayer right now. For whoever is feeling a certain way, that they might have some kind of fear in them, they might have some anger in them because of things that they're going through. We're going to pray right now for everybody, for me too. How you doing, Brother Carlito? Heavenly Father, at this time I'd like to pray for all my brothers and sisters that are going through something. For those that are sick, for those that have lost a loved one, for those that are getting spiritually attacked, whether they're being attacked spiritually through unseen forces, whether they're being spiritually attacked through witchcraft and occultancy. We're making a spiritual stance for everybody right now. Heavenly Father, I would like to place spiritual heavenly crosses in everybody's home right now, on their doorways, their windows. And I want to place spiritually heavenly crosses on each member of the family, from head to toe. As we're placing the spiritual heavenly crosses on them, we take an authority through any unseen forces, unclean spirits, demonic entities, or anything affiliated with Satan. We take an authority over you in Jesus Christ's name, through Jesus Christ. We tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. You're not welcome in our homes. You're not welcome within our foundations in any kind of way, shape, or form. Be gone. This I pray through Jesus Christ's name. Amen. I hope that little prayer that I just said right now helps anybody that might be viewing and going through something right now. I hope it helps y'all. It's the prayer, when I pray, is in true faith and true belief. I make that spiritual connection with the Heavenly Father. I don't have to read nothing, no verses or nothing out of the Bible, because it's coming out of true love, true faith, true belief in Jesus Christ. And there will be a positive change in your lives, in which you're going to feel. You might be feeling it right now, where you're feeling the heavenly angels that are there cleansing your home, where if something has affected you because something might attach to you, it's gone now, because the Heavenly Father is doing His works, and whatever's there is gone. So I just say to y'all that if you feel relief right now, to maintain your love foundation, and don't look too much into what somebody is saying or doing, but maintain your love foundation and deflect anything negative that anybody's trying to do or say against you. Don't give these people that worship other things an opening, a spiritual opening, to come up against you. We rebuke them through Jesus Christ's name. That's all you got to do. Take authority and say, I tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. And you're doing out of true faith and true love through Jesus Christ, and it's going to go back to the sender, because you're not accepting it. That's why the enemy works the way they do, through lies, and they gather up together to come up against you through more lies, because they're trying to find the spiritual opening. So then when they do find the spiritual opening, they try to do their witchcraft and whatever they practice to come up against you, because you have that opening. So what you do is you send it back. You take authority over it. You say, I tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. You're not welcome in my foundation. You're not welcome in my home. And when you say that, it's going back to the sender. To whoever is lying about you, it's going back to that. Whoever is affiliated with that person is lying, is going back to them. If there's 7, 8, 10, 12, 20, 30, however number it is, it's going to go 7 times fold. So if it's 30 people, that it'll go back 210 times fold back to them. And it goes to the measure of how bad the situation is, of what they're wishing up against you. So that's what you got to do. But I hope y'all enjoyed tonight's video. Like I said, I'm wearing here this shirt, the goats, because of something that happened a long time ago. I make good friends, and I still got everybody that's been, how should I say, affected by what's going on. I got y'all in prayer. Just don't, I was saying, don't give up. Don't give the enemy what they want. Do the opposite. Look what I'm doing. Doing the opposite. I'm still continuing to do my works. I've done shared a story that didn't get shared fully by a person I thought was going to share it fully, so I shared it with y'all tonight here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. You know, I got some images that I still haven't posted up from a cut the other night, and I'm still doing those works. I know some people are very busy and they're trying to do certain things. Me, I do this for the little bit of people that are in my group. They really truly need spiritual help. All they have to do is reach out to me here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters or through my messenger, and we can pray. And prayer is very important, because prayer is the connection that connects us to Jesus Christ, so he can listen to our prayers, hear our prayers, and then he can, as he listens to his prayers, he can react to them. And as he reacts to them, things are taken care of spiritually. I just want to say thank you all, the goats. This is one from a buddy, as a retired first sergeant. I got it. I used it a long time ago when, you know, certain things were being played by certain people. The same thing that's happening right now. The same people are trying to do the same strategy they did when I was sick. They're doing the same thing right now. As the past one, I'm wearing the shirt to let them know that I know what they're about, that I'm not afraid of them, and I'm onto them. You know, I'm onto them, and sooner or later, trust me when I say this, when the Heavenly Father intervenes, they will know who the Heavenly Father is, because everything they're trying to do to affect certain people or to affect us, the way they're trying to affect us, it will come back to them 7 times fold. That's no shadow of a doubt, because trust me, I've seen it happen time and time again. I'm not supposed to rejoice about it, which I'm not. But when it happens, it happens, and by then it's too late, you know. But it's because those individuals have already chosen the path they want to be on. But I've seen it happen numerous times throughout my lifetime. Whether it was share you a quick story. When I was in track, I was in 7th grade. I was walking back home, and I was thirsty. There was a pharmacy, and it has one of those water fountains. So I stopped there to drink some water, and I was cutting back through the store to go out the door. This lady stood right in front of me. She's an older lady. She knew my name because she said my name. I never met her before, and she asked me if my parents' names were so and so, and I said yes. So when I told her yes, she opened up this amulet, popped out of her hand. You could see like bones and all kinds of stuff out of it, you know, like it was made out of bones. And he had like a pendant in it. And she started saying something in a different language. So I called upon the Heavenly Father. I knew the Our Father. So I started praying to the Heavenly Father to come and assist me spiritually. And through my parallel vision, I seen the golden auras behind me of angels. There was a lot of them standing behind me. Same angels that stand by me right now. They were behind me. As they were behind me, standing to me behind me, she seen them. And when she seen them, as I called upon them, she dropped the amulet. It shattered on the ground. She turned around and took off running out of the store. So trust me when I say this, I've been through spiritual battles before. I know exactly what to do. Don't dwell in fear, anger, hatred, vengeance. Maintain your love foundation. Forgive, and just let God handle the situation. That's what I'm doing. I'm letting God handle the situation now, because I'm not going to give any kind of power to the enemy anymore. As we know, he's not ready. That guy is not man enough to settle anything through a mutual agreement. So I'm leaving it up to God, and I'm going to continue to do the works that I do. But thank you all, whoever's here. We got Brother Carlito. Let me see all. Sister Nellie Turner, Sister Veronica, Brother Shane, Brother Michael, Brother Herschel. Brother Herschel, he went to Elms Grove. He was there. He went with me during the day. Him and his wife, Sister Priscilla. When they seen my show, they wanted to go check it out, so I took them there. So they know what's there. They felt the presence that's there. They witnessed it for themselves. We went during the day. They told me they would never go there at night because of what they witnessed there during the day. They could hear the footsteps running around them. But anyways, maybe we'll share that little experience another time. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that tunes in to my videos here in Spiritual Encrypted Encounters on Facebook, on YouTube. The saying that I always say is always maintain the love foundation. And you know what? I'm not perfect, and I've broken out of the love foundation sometimes. You've seen it for the past 2-3 weeks where, I wanted to handle business with a certain individual. But now it's about maintaining my love foundation and leaving everything up to God. He'll take care of my enemies. So that's what I'm going to do. Maintain my love foundation and let God handle the situation. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless every single one of y'all, your families, and remember to tell your loved ones, I love you. It's very important to tell them that you love them because they got to spread that love also to the next of kin. When we're not here amongst the living, they got to spread the I love you from generation to generation. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. God bless every single one of y'all. Peace, everybody.